Well, good day to you, Derbyverse, and welcome. We are coming to you live from the Big O in Eugene, Oregon. My name is Michael Chex alongside Raucous Ron, and we are going to kick it down to just Jake for our opening keys to this first bout of Big O.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big O here. Exciting first bout here. We're seeing Kansas City Roller Warriors ranked 29th right now in Wftda rankings, taking on Rose City Wheels of Justice, currently ranked number 6. We're going to talk about the keys to the game for each team to see success here. We're starting off with Kansas City. Kansas City's 3 keys to the bout. Number 1, neutralize Scald Eagle. There's 2 ways you can go about this. You set up a really hardcore defensive lineup to put a stop to her, or you get some good O there to neutralize her getting out and limit the number of points she scores. But you're going to have a lineup set up just for Scald and neutralize her scoring ability. Number 2, you're going to have to be gangster with the blocker lineups. Depth of bench is going to be an issue for Kansas City, so we're going to need to see a lot of Barbarian, Trauma, Animal, and especially Bruiser. Now, historically, we've seen the Bruiser will go 6 jams in a row. Probably going to need that kind of rotation from these hardcore blockers. Number 3, big time, prioritize lead jammer. You may have to make this a nickel and dime game against Wheels of Justice, so you want to get your jammer out as much as possible. First pass is going to be the most important pass for Kansas City for the duration of this whole bout. Now we're going to look at the keys to the bout for Rose City, ranked number 6 here. Number 1, biggest opportunity from last year, stay on the track. Yes, we have a new rule set to only spend 30 seconds on the track in the penalty box, but still, it's a huge opportunity. They have the depth of bench. If they keep their skaters on the track, it's going to be good for their success. Number 2, focus on containment. Too many opportunities given last year by huge hits and breaking up the walls for hits. Rose City used to have the Walls of Justice. Bring back the Walls of Justice. Focus on containment. That'll go a long way for them. Number 3, on the other side of the spectrum, they have a deep bench as far as blockers go, so keep an even rotation. You can tire out their opponents, keep yourself in it, and keep an even rotation, and you play all 14 skaters, you're going to have a lot more in the tanks at the end of the bout. Those are the keys to the bout. I'm going to kick it back over to Mike Chex and Raucous Ron.
I'm Raucous Ron here. I'm going to break down Kansas City just a little bit for you. Kansas City had a little bit of a rough start this year with some big losses to Denver and Rocky Mountain on a trip out there. They have gone in and really worked on some fundamentals and tried to come out here a stronger and more experienced team, having learned some lessons there. They did have a victory against Team United earlier this year. They're going to work on holding the walls together. This is a team that's in a rebuilding, Mike Chex. But they are certainly working hard to get back up to that level, like Rose City ranking up there at number 6. Kansas City's roster, number 11, Barbarian, / Animal. Number 15 from Team USA, Trauma. 219, Road Hash. Number 22, Ruth Canal. 24, Bruise Her. 34, Accelerator. Number 38, Hydrogen Bombshell. 47, Dr. Dread. 79, Mary Lou Wretched, 84, Tough Noogies, 99, Ram Ram, D11R, Rump Wrecker, and Woo, Aaron Nobra. Mike Chex.
And for the Wheels of Justice, decked out today in their purple uniforms with silver trim, skating for the Wheels of Justice this afternoon, number 100, Mercy, number 127, Jessica Chestnut, number 1719, Scylla Devourer, 17H is the Blast Unicorn, 1889, Jessica Shipley. Number 2, Megan Moffitt. Count 210, Heidi Goes Seek. Number 26, Sarah Gaither. Number 3, Knife. Number 47, Penny Dreadful. Number 50, Scald Eagle. 523 is Jessica Rodriguez. 77 is Lauren Much. At 934, Jamie True. Ron, it looks like we are about to get this first jam underway. Lining up on the jam line for the Wheels of Justice, that's number 50, Scald Eagle.
Oh, man, and she'll be going up against Mary Lou Wretched, one of the only returning jammers for Kansas City. Kansas City having a tough time with that jammer rotation right now. You got some young developing jammers coming in, like Dr. Dread. Looks like she'll be coming in on the second jam. But, you know, it's going to be a tough haul in here for Kansas City at jammer. They've got to get those jammers free.
Well, fans, we hope you are buckled up nice and tight. We've got 3 days of almost non-stop derby action coming to you live here from Eugene, Oregon.
Man, so exciting to be here. It's my first Big O. This is a legendary tournament. I mean, everybody talks about it. I thought, I've got to get out there, especially with Kansas City here in the house, my home league.
Well, and the lineup here is huge, as we've talked about already. We are going to get this one underway. Mike Hammer, it looks like, is our head referee for this opening bout.
Wheels of Justice with the home field advantage here. Got a big crowd cheering for him on the sidelines.
They will make their voices heard all weekend long. And we are underway. Kansas City taking the front wall. Scald Eagle trying to push out, going into turn one. Dances from the outside to the inside. One left to beat. That's Ram up front. Lead jammer, Wheels of Justice.
She broke down that wall one at a time. Broke free. She does it so well.
Gaither, Mercy, Scylla Devour, and Megan Moffitt holding back. Mary Lou Wretched, jammer for Kansas City. Scald Eagle having already completed her initial pass, working on a scoring pass. Moffitt recycling the Kansas City jammer. Mary Lou Wretched gonna have to work again. Scald Eagle through for 5 points.
Mary Lou Wretched stretching out the front wall, starting to get some separation, but having a hard time.
Mercy and Moffitt, that killer combination up front, still holding back Mary Lou Wretched as Scald Eagle breaks through for another 5 points and a track cut penalty, Mary Lou Wretched. This is going to put the Wheels of Justice on a power jam. Scald Eagle with 10 points so far already. Clears the pack again for another 5.
So, silky move, sliding through the middle there.
So 15 points for Scald Eagle and the Wheels of Justice so far. You see her go to her toe stops there. She clears the pack for another 5.
Nice work staying in bounds on the inside. She is so strong, Mike checks.
Scylla Devour trying to play a little bit of inverse offense. Gaither anchoring the outside line. Scald Eagle pushes through the middle, and there's another 5.
25 points on the jam for Rose City.
Scald Eagle, 25 points, gets some offense, goes outside on turn 3. She's through for 5 more.
That was a great play with the offensive blocking going on. They could tell that was a design play.
Kansas City having a hard time getting Mary Lou Wretched through the pack, gets knocked down in turn 3 as Scald Eagle traverses the pack for another 5. Mary Lou Wretched again fighting against that back wall. Gaither, Moffitt, Scylla Devour, and Mercy. Scald Eagle pushes through the front.
Scald Eagle with just an explosive first jam here for Rose. Exactly how they wanted to come out, get the crowd excited here in Eugene, Oregon. Kansas City, the walls breaking down a little too easy in there, but Scald Eagle, of course, you know, legendary for her ability to do that.
So excited to be here, so excited to have these 2 teams here.
Looks like the Wheels of Justice lost Gaither at the very end of that jam. They are going to start this jam in a blocker deficiency down 4-3.
And for Kansas City, they'll send in Dr. Dread.
Yeah, pretty excited.
Lauren Much goes around the outside, but an illegal procedure.
All right, so Dr. Dread out of the pack, lead jammer. So she gets through with some offensive blocking help.
Well, and she was also able to get that lead jammer status. Lauren Much whistled for an illegal procedure, a false start, so she had to yield her position to the Kansas City jammer, allowing them to get lead jam.
Yeah, Kansas City is going to have to do that with that offensive blocking. You just saw it. They all went to offensive blocking, and surprised the jammer got through in short time. So that might be one of the keys to the game for them, is to focus a little more on offense, because I tell you what, you may not stop Scald Eagle.
We have an official timeout down on the track.
Head-to-head bouts, it's just incredible. The quality of derby we're going to get to see this weekend. I'm very
So yeah, lots of great teams here this weekend. I'm really excited to see some of the great teams like ranked number 3 Texas coming in. You know, lots of teams from around the world.
Looks like we're making sure the game clock is set.
Officials on the field trying to make sure we got it right. Just Dirty Larry, coach for KC, also world champion of your mom. He's out in the field conversing with the referees at this time.
So we did get confirmation that it was in fact the time on clock that was being checked.
For making the trip and making this a priority on the calendars to help them make the Derby.
Yeah, gotta love these officials here. So many of them making a long trip themselves to participate in this wonderful tournament.
Blast Unicorn jamming for the Wheels of Justice.
And we will see Accelerator for Kansas City. Accelerator, the 2007 MVP of the WFTDA. This is her first year back since then, Mike Checks.
Mercy working with Chestnut at the front of the pack, able to contain Kansas City's jammer. Blast Unicorn working out front against two blockers in the front of the pack. Finds room on the inside of turn 4, lead jammer, Rose City.
Nice move on the inside by Accelerator to try and get through, but gets closed down on the front wall.
Gaither did a nice job recycling, helping to keep Kansas City's jammer contained. You see Mercy working at the front of the pack with Chestnuts and True. Blast Unicorn trying to push through turn 1, getting some inverse offense from True. Blast Unicorn working against Noogies at the front of the pack. She clears, and that is a four-point scoring pass.
Accelerator now getting some blocking help in the pack to try and get through.
Chestnut working with Gaither, holding her back. Blast Unicorn already around, working on another scoring pass.
Nice shot delivered there. That was tough.
Good defense holding right now at the back for Kansas City.
Tough Noogies doing a nice job against Blast Unicorn in the backfield there.
Kansas City also starting to get some separation. Gotta get that jammer out to stop the scoring barrage.
Gaither and Chestnut working the front of the pack, moving Accelerator left to right.
Bruiser out front. Some great blocking, legendary Bruiser.
Bruiser with a hit to the inside.
Rose City finds themselves on a power jam now. Accelerator being sent to the penalty box for a track cut, 5-point grand slam, the Blast Unicorn. Blast Unicorn emphatically calling an end to that jam.
These walls for Rose City are so strong. They hold together really well. They work together as a team. There's lots of communication on the track, and you can see that here as they've been able to primarily contain Kansas City today, with the exception of the one lead jammer call for Shady O'Dread.
Well, and not exactly what Kansas City would like to see right now. Their jammer in the penalty box and Scald Eagle on the jam line for the Wheels of Justice. Packs at even strength. Wheels of Justice bringing the offense from the inside to the outside. Scald Eagle taking advantage. Lead jammer, Wheels of Justice.
Hey, look at Scald Eagle. She has a lead jammer once again for the Wheels of Justice.
Scald Eagle making quick work of the pack, already around, engaging the Kansas City blockers at the front of the pack. She's gotten by 3, all 4 cleared. That is a 5-point scoring pass, Rose City.
Scald Eagle creates her own block. She gets in there, puts a hip on the blocker, and then spins the hip around them. Really, really good on her, being her own offensive blocker.
Trauma almost getting Eagle out of turn 1. Eagle stays in, ducks to the inside against Ruth Canal, and clears for 5 more points. Scald Eagle taking advantage of nobody paying attention in turn 1. Jumps the corner to a full 5 points.
Yeah, Kansas City with a blocker on the inside line, but I mean, she just jumped right over him.
Kansas City working on that star pass, which it looks like has been completed. Scald Eagle gets through the pack for another 5.
You almost got to have a tall blocker who can really shoot that hip out on the inside to even fill that space. She can really get up in the air. Look at that wall for Rose City. They just stacked Kansas City to the inside. Scald Eagle rolls through untouched.
Now it does look like Trauma, who was given the star on that cap pass, did pick up a point for Kansas City at the tail end of that jam. Actually, 2 points now being signaled in from Philip McCrevis from the center there.
Well, you've got to start somewhere, Mike Checks. You got to put some points on the board, chip away at it. I think Kansas City's going to have to work on containing, these huge jams for Rose City, and they're going to have to work on, getting that lead jam and chipping away at it here.
Kansas City bench happy to see that the 2 points went up on their side of the scoreboard. Scald Eagle with 65 points so far this bout.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're wondering,
And it looks like we have an official review down on the track.
so far,
That official review appears to be being called by the Wheels of Justice.
out of 76 points, that's not too shabby. And the last top for Rose City was against the LA Dirty Dolls. For those of you who didn't catch it, it was on March 22nd, and they won 349-40.
So Mike checks both of these teams knocked out of the playoffs last year. Kansas City knocked out by Philly in a very contentious game up till near the end, losing 261 to 225. That was a great game. Richmond in the playoffs. Of course, for Wheels of Justice, they were knocked out in that infamous battle against London where they lost by 3 points. That must have hurt.
Yeah, I have very personal memories of that bout. An amazing bout nonetheless, and London, a formidable opponent. It's tough to beat the same team twice in one season. We are going to get clarification on what the official review was. Will the point stand? All right, so as you might have heard in the background there, Philip McCrevis, referee, came over to inform us that Rose had called for a challenge regarding the legality of the cap pass by Kansas City. The cap pass took place while the pivot, the new jammer, was completely out of bounds. So, the call has been that there will be an illegal procedure against Kansas City. She will be sitting in the penalty box for 30 seconds. Those points were correctly awarded, and Rose City will retain its official review for the remainder of the first half.
Okay. Well, that was a pretty complicated but accurate breakdown. Excellent work by our officiating staff here.
So as you were wondering, the challenge here, the official review for Rose City was whether or not the Star Pass was legal by Kansas City.
So, Ron, it looks like we've got a lighter pack out there to start this next jam. Rose City sending out 3 blockers, Kansas City with 3 blockers on the track, but Rose City with the only jammer.
All right, so
The official review.
Lauren Much finding herself in a power jam. She is through a lead jammer, Wheels of Justice. Wheels of Justice had the Kansas City blockers separated. They had 2 in the back, 1 in the front. That created enough confusion for Much to get through the pack, putting 5 points on the board for the Wheels of Justice.
Kansas City walled up at the back.
Rose City looking for inverse offense, got some. Rodriguez came up to make sure. Much clear the pack, 5 points.
Kansas City losing another blocker to the box, getting one back in.
Bruiser initially knocked Much Mayhem to the inside. Lauren Much, though, recovering 5 points. Rose City. And a back block penalty.
So back-to-back penalties.
Accelerator. Yep, Accelerator headed to the penalty box. Victim of that, or she was the one with that back block. Nice job by Much Mayhem going to one skate on the outside of the far straightaway. 5 points, Rose City.
And if you love Derby, you've got to love the blocking going on here at Rose. These are some design plays. We're seeing some excellent one-on-one positional blocking, just clearing the way for their jammers as such.
Nice hit by Knife on Noogies at the front of that pack to get Much through for another 5 points. Rose City letting Much go at this alone. They are preparing for Kansas City's jammer to re-enter play. Knife now pops up to play some offense for Rose City.
Kansas City with the kind of containment right here that they're going to need to play more of to be competitive in this game. Right now putting together a good 3-wall in the front.
Lauren Much doing a nice job keeping her skates in bounds. Nice lateral movement by the Kansas City blockers. That's Bruiser and Noogie up front. Lauren Much clears, though, 5 points.
Yeah, Lauren Much with an excellent season last year. She had 155 jams in the year with a 53.5% lead, 865 points, so certainly some experience there. She was a plus 365. Is this scald?
No, this appears to be...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on that last jam for the Wheels of Justice, Lauren Much with a 30.
That appears to be Gaither jamming for the Wheels of Justice. She goes round the outside. She is clear. And she is lead jammer. Gaither now fighting her way through, goes to the outside through turns 1 and 2. 5 points on the board, Rose City.
35 points in that last jam.
Rumprecker trying to find an answer to True Mercy, the Blast Unicorn.
Bounces off and tries to find some space in turn 3.
Gaither working on his scoring pass now, goes round the outside, around everybody for 5 points.
Finding a nice channel on the outside.
Kansas City having a little bit of a tough time holding it together in those walls.
Blast Unicorn forcing Rumprecker out of turn 4. She is going to be recycled all the way to the back. Blast Unicorn pops out of the back of the pack.
And recycles, resets, tries to get past that 2-wall.
Track cut being called. That against Hydrogen Bombshell. She's going to report to the penalty box as Gaither clears the pack for 5 points.
And Rose loses 2 blockers at once. That'll help Kansas City out a little bit here.
Wheels of Justice losing the Blast Unicorn and Mercy to the penalty box.
Big knockdown block by Barbarian. She's one of our upcoming blockers who you're going to see some good things through in this tournament.
Barbarian recycling Gaither all the way to the back of turn 4. True working against Rumprecker at the front of the pack. Rump now clear on her initial pass.
Rumprecker making her way around on her initial pass.
Gaither decides to call off the jam, and Kansas City held scoreless. Gaither 4 more points at the end of that jam.
So right now, Rose City with 130 points. Kansas City with 2. Kansas City looking to build on some of the small victories out there in this one. They've seen some good things from them in moments. They need to take those things and expand them out to a greater percentage of the time.
Well, and this is really the first that we've had a solid look at the Wheels of Justice as far as WFTDA play is concerned. Of course, as we discussed earlier, they played the Los Angeles Derby Dolls on the flat track in Portland, Oregon earlier this year as a preseason or tune-up bout. This, the first WFTDA sanctioned bout for Rose City this season.
Yeah, but looking at Rose City roster here, you knew they were going to be a top contender this year. This is a team, if they can put it together and, you know, fix some of the small things from last year, this is a team that could go all the way and be contention with anyone. As we saw last year, there's more parity in the WFTDA than we thought.
Indeed there is. It looks like we are about to get back to the action on the track. Number 50, Scald Eagle, jamming for Rose City.
Oh, great blocking by Rose. Seals the inside for her lead jammer, Scald Eagle.
Mary Lou Wretched working against Shipley at the front of the pack. Wretched gets the better of Shipley, and she is clear on her initial. Scald Eagle working on a scoring pass. She clears the pack. 4 points and calls off the jam. Nice job by Kansas City there, helping to get their jammer out quickly, forcing Rose to call a quick end to that jam, Ron.
Right, and we'll see Shady O'Dread coming in here. Not a lot of pattern to Kansas City's jammer rotation. They are doing some experimenting. We've got a lot of jammers that are on the cusp of being on the roster, and we're kind of taking a look at some of those skaters today.
Kansas City going to start this jam with a 4-3 blocker advantage. True in the penalty box for Rose City.
All right, we get this jam underway. All walled up at the front is
Rodriguez with the star for the Wheels of Justice.
And Dr. Dread fights her way around the outside, gets it.
Dr. Dread, lead jammer for Kansas City. Rodriguez clears the pack on her initial pass.
Yeah, Dr. Dread had some good footwork, toe work on the outside, also some offensive blocking. Now scoring some more points for Kansas City. He's going to spin to the outside and call it off.
That was Trauma popping up, giving Dr. Dread some offense, allowing her to put those 4 points on the board for Kansas City. Rose City putting Lauren Much out on the jam line once again. Lauren Much, 37 points so far tonight.
Oh, so having a nice evening. So as I'd mentioned, the small victories, got to focus on those. And what did we do right there? We got our jammer free.
4-on-4 in the pack to start. Lauren Much goes down but right before the pivot line, quick to recover. Ruth Canal fighting up front against Scylla Devour. Looks like Gaither up there with her.
Ruth Canal digging through the tough old veteran. She's not old, but she's been around a while. So
Lauren Much also clear on her initial pass. Kansas City going to pick up points where they can get them. 2-1 right there.
Couple good jams here for Kansas City. Need to put together quite a few of those here to play catch up with a score. 135 for Rose City and 8 for Kansas City.
Jamming for Rose City.
Yeah, the announcers would like to encourage anybody who wants face makeup. That's super helpful in identifying jammers.
Scald Eagle jamming for Rose City. Kansas City looking to capitalize. They have 2 lead jammers in a row. But Scald Eagle ends that as she gets around Road Hash coming out of turn 1, lead jammer, Rose City.
Kansas City walled up at the front.
Multiplayer block being called on the track. We'll see who that was assessed against. Eagle working the front of the pack, clears on a scoring pass, and that was the Blast Unicorn whistled for that multiplayer block, Ron.
And Rump Wrecker, who I believe is this the first jam of the game, the rookie for Kansas City breaks free in scoring position.
Scald Eagle checks the blocker, saw one not paying attention, dances around that, picks up 4 points, and calls off the jam.
You gotta love that. Spinning, dropping to the ground with flair. Puts a pose for the audience at the end. Scald Eagle, and that's a great thing about this tournament. You look around, there are so many, these superstar players the audience loves it. WFTDA.TV tuned in here, had people all across the world watching. So
that appears to be Megan Moffitt jamming for the first time this bout for the Wheels of Justice. She is through the pack lead jammer.
And for Kansas City, the captain, Mary Lou Wretched, one of our only returning jammers from last year's playoffs.
She gets around Rodriguez and Shipley, who were trying to hold her at the front of the pack. Moffitt clears the pack, gets 4 points, and calls off the jam. 4-0 point differential, Rose City.
How about Sizzle Pie? Sizzle Pie at quarter.
We'll see Dr. Dredd step up to the line. She has had 2 lead jammer calls tonight in this bout. The last one picking up 6 points. 4 points.
Well, the interesting thing about that is for Dr. Dredd, her only 2 jams that she has jammed, she has gotten lead for Kansas City. She'll be jamming this jam against Lauren Much for Rose City.
Lauren Much just slicing right through the Kansas City defense. Meanwhile, Dr. Dredd looking to break through in the front.
Chestnut and Scylla Devour working her over at the front of the pack. Mercy also keeping Dredd contained, but Dredd breaks free on her initial. And Much around the pack calls off the jam for Rose City. 3 points for her effort.
You got to think Kansas City, similar to this last play, once Rose City has gotten lead jam, they've got to hit offense hard and break their jammer through and try to hold them down to 4 or less points in a jam and keep them away from these huge Scald Eagle multi-scoring passes.
Well, Kansas City has done a good job of that in the last few jams. Scald Eagle jamming for Wheels of Justice this jam. She is through the pack and lead. Ruth Canal being recycled. Gaither rolling her back as far as possible as Scald Eagle attacks the pack on her scoring pass. Multiplayer block assessed against Annie Mall.
Ruth Canal is free for Kansas City.
Scald Eagle looking to get some help on the outside. Gaither fakes the inverse offense. And a 5-point scoring pass for Scald Eagle.
Sounds like Kansas City listening to me down there. They've got the
That's really helpful.
starting to work a little bit more on the offensive blocking.
And we just got a correction from the center of the track. That was only a 4-point scoring pass for Scald Eagle. Jessica Rodriguez jamming for Rose City.
Kansas City's Mary Lou Wretched trapped way in the back as the pack is stretched out.
Hydrogen bombshell, last line of defense, had to let Rodriguez go. Swarming defense in the backfield by Moffitt, Blast Unicorn, and Shipley as Rodriguez goes to the outside for a 5-point scoring pass.
Very fast moving defensive wall from Rose.
Knife rejoining the action for Rose City.
Mary Lou recycled to the inside again. That'll slow Kansas City down and continue the scoring drive for Rose.
Rose City deciding to forego any offense and just keep the jammer mired in the backfield. Big hit by Moffitt. Rumprecker recovers in turn 3. Rodriguez trying to push the Kansas City wall forward into turn 4. Goes to the outside, dodges a hit, and clears the pack for 5. Rumprecker passes the cap. That cap pass going to Annie Mall. But she also lost the pivot cap there. Jam was called off. 4 more points picked up for Rose City.
Rose City continuing to score and keep the advantage, but the scoring has certainly been slowed down from some of that stuff we saw earlier in the bout. Kansas City finding a way to contain and a way to break their jammers out.
Full contingent of blockers to start this jam. Lauren Much jamming for Rose City. Multiplayer block. Annie Mall and True both leaving the track. Much through for lead jammer.
Mary Lou Wretched stretches the pack out, gets through on her initial pass.
Much goes to the inside through turn 3, pops out of turn 4, calls off the jam. 4 points to her credit.
Yeah, Kansas City with the jammer rotation, as mentioned, that is in development here, having case closed. You know, one of our star players from the past, she is not here or continuing, she's had retired from the team. Track Rat retiring as well, you know, legendary Track Rat, and no Reptar.
3-on-3 in the pack to start this jam. Scald Eagle going side to side, goes to the outside. Lead jammer, Rose City.
What great lateral movement. She can move from one line to the other so quickly, those long legs.
Dr. Tread having to fight against Moffitt and Shipley, who are now joined by Scylla Devour. Scald Eagle getting recycled by Roadhash. Moffitt pushing Dread to the outside. Dread now going to the inside, finds a rail and gets through, clear on her initial. 5-point scoring pass for Scald Eagle.
Some tenacious fighting there by Dr. Dread to get through on her initial pass, forces the call off by Scald Eagle. Gotta love the offensive blocking once again. I'm seeing out there, Erin Nobra put some great hits on the blockers and created that space to open it up for her.
We haven't really seen much, if any, passive offense so far this bout. Interesting to see the impacts the 30-second penalties continue to have on the evolution of gameplay.
That's so true. You know, I think gone are the days of those huge monster 40-something point jams. You know, and unless you've got a huge difference in the skill of the teams, but on this high-ranking teams, it's going to really tighten up gameplay.
Gaither jamming for Wheels of Justice. And that is Ruth Canal, jammer for Kansas City. She is out in lead. Gaither fighting at the front of the pack. Brews her nice defense.
And that is Ruth Canal's second lead jammer of the game, but looks like she's going to be able to capitalize with 1 point.
And a positive point differential for Kansas City, 1-0 in that jam. Again, blockers at full strength to start this jam. Lauren Much finds herself jamming once again for Wheels of Justice. Pushed to the outside by Roadhash and recycled all the way. Accelerator did pick up lead jammer, but Mercy recycled her. Lauren Much is clear of the pack. And that jam called off, 0 points.
By Accelerator, as Lauren Much had a little bit of a lead around the track.
Oh, Kansas City will send out Mary Lou Wretched again. Scald Eagle for Rose City. Rose City with the 188-9 advantage.
And Mary Lou Wretched, 72% lead jam on the season.
Scald Eagle jamming once again, Wheels of Justice. Kansas City opting for the 4-wall in the front, Wheels of Justice with the 4-wall and back. Penny Dreadful doing a nice job trying to hold Shipley, working with True and Moffitt. And Scald Eagle through the pack first, lead jammer going to Rose City.
Mary Lou Wretched out on the track for Kansas City, and that's Scald Eagle for Rose.
Mary Lou Wretched now working against Shipley and Penny Dreadful in the front of the pack. Shipley getting the better of her, recycling her to the back. True reporting to the penalty box for Rose City, and Scald Eagle on a single skate pirouettes through the pack, 5 points, Rose City.
Such a talented skater, can really move those feet.
Penny Dreadful and Shipley again recycling Kansas City's jammer to Scald Eagle through the pack, 5-point grand slam, Rose City.
Having to come all the way back, like halfway around the track. That's a heartbreaker.
You're absolutely right, Ron, and the Wheels of Justice not afraid to bridge back a jammer as far as possible, foregoing any offense for their own jammer. Scald Eagle through the pack for 5, looking for more as Mary Lou Wretched clears on her initial.
And I think that a lot of eyes are going to be opened by this, what's going on with Rose City. They were playing incredibly well as a team. The coordination between the blockers, I could say it again and again, but it's so true. They really, really appear to have raised to another level in terms of that pack play and those big hits, driving girls all the way to the line, really taking Kansas City for a run here in this bout.
Well, you're absolutely right, Ron. We haven't seen any signs of miscommunication going on between Wheels of Justice blockers. They all seem to be on the same page, going offense at a specific time, going defense at a specific time, bridging out, bridging forward. Rodriguez jamming for Rose City. And Rodriguez through, lead jammer Knife headed to the penalty box for Rose City for a forearm penalty. Rodriguez quick through the pack, gets bumped to the outside by Trauma. Trauma unfortunately follows her. Rodriguez though getting recycled all the way back by Aaron Nobra.
Dr. Dredd spreading out the pack. He's gonna call it, no pack is called, but somebody's gonna, Dredd is through and out the front, so.
4-point scoring pass, Rodriguez checks in with the bench, decides to keep pushing it. Gaither now reporting to the penalty box for Rose City as Rodriguez calls off the jam.
Yeah, she'll let the time run down as much as possible as Dredd was coming up on the back of the pack.
Looks like we've got Ruth Canal returning to the jam line for Kansas City, opposite Lauren Much for Rose City.
Yeah, Ruth Canal not, part of the regular or starting jammer rotation typically. She operates as a blocker and then comes in and fills in, but she's done so well this season from that position.
Much trying to push out Annie Mall at the front of the pack. Nice fight by Annie Mall. Ruth Canal also clear on her initial, but lead going to Much. Much telling Shipley to go.
Oh.
Much ducks down, goes to the outside, and picks off all 4 points before calling off that jam.
That was fantastic. She yelled and communicated with her line. They looked back at her, said, oh, we see what you want us to do. Create a block, fill a seam, and she just dived through underneath on the outside to snatch the points with the Kansas City jammer right on her heels.
Well, and that's the perfect example of the point that you brought up before the last jam started, just that teamwork and consistency that has been on display so far today for the Wheels of Justice.
Yeah, they are flowing like a river.
Moffitt jamming once again for Rose City through the pack, lead jammer. Rump-Wrecker still mired in the pack. Gaither trying to hold her off. Gaither gets pushed to the inside by Trauma. Moffitt working on a scoring pass now. Goes to the inside, 5 in the sky, Rose City. Moffitt finding room on the inside, accelerates through, shrugs off a hit from Trauma. 5 more points, Rose City.
Kansas City with the rookie Rump-Wrecker out there. Starting to get some space and stretch out the pack, but now recycled to the inside.
That was Gaither pushing Rump-Wrecker to the inside. Gaither tried to push her out and then used her momentum to push her to the inside. Rump-Wrecker quick to recover as Moffitt threw the pack for another 4 points.
Rump-Wrecker stuck up front. These amazing blockers for Rose City.
Interesting decisions by Rose City now, going full defense, making Moffitt fight out against the front of the pack on her own, which she does and clears for 5 and calls off the jam. Going to be interesting to see if we get one more jam here. It looked like we had less than 30 seconds on the period clock. Waiting to see if we get a team timeout or not. And it looks like both squads content to send this to the locker room for halftime. At the break, Wheels of Justice 234, Kansas City 9. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at the Big O 2014. Rose City versus Kansas City to open it up, and we're going to kick it over to Just Jake.
Just Jake here. I want to talk about keys to the game and moving forward really quick. Well, so far, Rose City Wheels of Justice nailing all of them right now. They're staying on the track. We've seen very little of them in the penalty box. It's paid out great for them. They have focused on containment. You can see their wall work just doing a lot of damage on Kansas City's jammers. And you're using the whole bench. We're not seeing the same skaters over and over again. We have a deep jammer rotation. I've seen everybody out there a handful of times. Because they're staying on the track, they can afford to do that. It's been working out great for them. Scald Eagle, 111 points in the first half, in the first period here. So she's having a breakout game. They've dominated lead jammer percentages. Scald, 100% lead jammer. Megan Moffitt, 100% lead jammer. Blast as well. Kansas City having a hard time here. Definitely need the first pass scoring right now. They've only had lead 6 times in the first half. They've got to bring that up. They got to figure out the trick on Scald. They have to find some way to contain her now because she is destroying right now. And that lead jammer has got to be huge. They've been gangster with their lineups. They've been seeing the hardcore execution out there. We just got to get them to turn it up and get that first pass. Handing it back over to Mike Checks and Rockets Wrong.
Well, Ron, Randy Pan made an observation that the Rose City team going deep into their jammer rotation. What I found interesting so far is both teams have fielded 6 different jammers so far this bout.
Yeah, Rose City obviously a little deeper with their bench. Kansas City trying to dig deep in their bench. You know, a little bit of a team that's on the rise to greatness right now, a team that's trying to get back there. Kansas City trying to find a way to make it work. We've seen some glimpses of good things from them, from some of their jammers and some of the offensive blocking and stealing, but they have to do much, much more of that. Mike Checks, the action.
Scald Eagle opening up the second half, jamming for Rose City. And that is Ruth Canal jamming for Kansas City to start. Ruth Canal trying to work against Moffitt and Scylla Devour at the front of the pack. Eagle trying to get by Ram Ram on the inside. And it's Eagle winning the race, lead jammer Rose City.
When you put her one-on-one with a blocker who's trying to push her out of bounds, she wins that power battle most of the time. Ruth Canal now popping out the front for Kansas City.
And a nice job of Ruth Canal getting by Shipley at the front of the pack. Scald Eagle being whistled for a back block penalty. Kansas City in a power jam.
Oh, wow, here we go. It'll only last 30 seconds, so
still
5
Ruth Canal.
points.
Yep, taking advantage for those 5 points, Ron.
Ruth Canal, one of the skaters for Kansas City, having some success tonight. I believe this is her 3rd lead jam call.
Ruth Canal fighting against the three wall of Rose City blockers at the front of the pack. That's Gaither, Scylla Devour, and Moffitt.
You know, you see these veterans like Ruth Canal out there. She really doesn't let people take her to the line. No, that's far enough and sticks with it.
That's right. Ruth Canal clears the pack. That's a 5-point scoring pass. Scald Eagle out of the penalty box, through the pack, 4 points. Remember, Scald was the lead jammer prior to going into the penalty box. This jam is going to go the full 2 minutes. Ruth Canal with a cap pass to Annie Mall, this time legally and in bounds. Annie Mall, now the jammer of record, being forced to the outside by Scald Eagle.
Yeah,
Scald Eagle playing a little bit of defense in the backfield, Ron.
Yeah, we've got superstar on superstar there, of course. Both of them big names in the Derby community.
Scald Eagle clears for 4 points. Annie Mall trying to find an opening between Devour and Shipley. Moffitt slides over to close, though. Eagle getting some offense in the form of Scylla Devour.
Annie Mall, one of those skaters that Kansas City knows they need out on the track blocking. She is, you know, historically one of the great blockers in WFTDA history. And here she is out here. They're putting the star on her because, again, Kansas City is digging deep for solutions to their issues right here.
Well, it was really interesting to see Scald in the waning seconds of that jam. She contorts her body to make sure her hips are around the opposing blockers, even if the rest of her is not. It's how she's able to put so many last-second points on the board. Lauren Much jamming for Rose City. Shakes off a hit from Trauma, lead jammer.
Now Dr. Dredd looking for some help to get out of this pack. Kansas City going to offense to try and spring her, but Rose City so good at recycling to the front, captures her, and pulls her back.
Well, and then you've got this lineup, which has Mercy, very tall, Penny Dreadful, not nearly as tall. The combination of the two of them provide nightmares for opposing jammers. Dr. Dredd, though, getting the best of the pack, clear on her initial.
Well, at least she won't be a point on this one, and it may stop this scoring barrage, but great spinning move through the pack for number 77, Rose City. Fantastic on the track at those spinning moves.
Trauma looked like she was standing there wondering exactly how Lauren Much maintained her upright stance, shaking off that hit.
Yeah, Trauma, one of the big hitters in all of roller derby, and we see this when she plays on Team USA. You know, she looks fantastic just like she does here. So Kansas City with not a very deep bench of blockers, but they definitely have some big names out there like Trauma and Bruise Her.
Everybody out on the track, 4-on-4 in the blocker department. Scald Eagle trying to push the Kansas City 4-wall front. Rose City with its 4-wall in the back.
And Accelerator on the track. Accelerator, one of those skaters who's really learning the modern game. She's coming back after a long absence as makes it through the pack here.
Well, she shrugs off a hit from True at the front of the pack, clear on her initial. Scald Eagle working on a scoring pass. Forced to call off the jam in turn 3, 2 points on that scoring pass. Referees in the center making sure that the jammer numbers are being called in to the officials table. The jam line is opposite the dais here. Lauren Much on the jam line for the Wheels of Justice. Through the pack, lead jammer.
Meanwhile, Mary Lou Ratched looking for an opening. Looks like she had one, but closed down quickly out front. But a quick Rose defense.
Chestnut and Moffitt sliding out of turn 2. Much mayhem, nice move. Slides on her toe stop, stays in bounds, completes a 5-point scoring pass.
You gotta love the subtle things for Rose City, like Mercy putting a light tap block to open up a small hole. You know, it's the little things.
Chestnut recycling Mary Lou Ratched. Mary Lou quick to recover, though. And she pushed to the inside by Mercy, who's going to bring her all the way to the back. Meanwhile, Lauren Much clears the pack, 5 points, Rose City.
And Mary Lou recycled again. Meanwhile, another big 5 for Rose.
Chestnut doing a good job moving Mary Lou Ratched to the outside as she'd done twice before. Mary Lou this time staying in the center, fighting against Knife. Clears on her initial.
Kansas City's wall is breaking down much too easily right now. You know, and that it's a situation sometimes of some of the players that are, you know, like some of the top performers on the team are out on the track a greater percentage of the time. Rose right now able to rotate their bench very evenly. They've got the lead. They can get everybody the practice time. Kansas City trying to put their top blockers out there. It's going to wear you down after a while, especially against big jammers like Scald Eagle.
Kansas City having more success so far this half. Rodriguez jamming for Rose City. She goes to the outside. Nice last second hit by Bruiser. Recycles Rodriguez.
Rumprecker for Kansas City. Again, the rookie having a tough time with the 2-wall, but sneaks by on the outside. Lead jammer. I think that's her first lead jammer.
Blast Unicorn thought she had her push to the outside. Did not. Rodriguez now clear of the pack for Rose City.
So KC with an opportunity to put some points on the board right here. We see if she can get some hips around those blockers, and she does. Calls it off. 3 for Kansas City. It is so beautiful out here in Eugene, Oregon. As I drive around, I'm like, I would like to move here. This is one of those kind of climates and the atmosphere. The people here seem so accepting and loving. A lot of hippies here, Mike Jux.
There are rumored to be more than a handful of hippies here in Eugene, Oregon. And you are right about the weather. It has been great the last couple days.
Beautiful, but back to the action here. Kansas City trying to contain out front, but Rose City.
Gaither through, lead jammer. Roadhash had to let her go. Scylla Devour trying to stop Ruth Canal. Ruth Canal now pushing against Scald Eagle, who is out as a blocker. Eagle, oddly enough, nice side-to-side movement there, keeping Ruth Canal in play as Gaither clears the pack for 5 points. Ruth Canal fighting against Scylla Devour at the front of the pack. Scylla trying to give her one last push out of bounds. Unable to do so. Ruth Canal clear on her initial. Gaither clears on a scoring pass. 4 points. Looks to the bench and then calls off the jam.
Yeah, in a game like this, they're looking to run that clock down, you know, save it for, they've got some big games coming up in this tournament against some top contender teams, Rose does. And again, a great opportunity for them to rotate their bench and work on some things that they've, you know, against the WFTDA team, a Kansas City scrappy team. So definitely a worthy opponent, but they are dominating on the scoreboard right now.
Moffitt jammer of record for Rose City.
Pinned down right now by a 4-wall for Kansas City. That wall breaks down again.
Moffitt gets around Ram at the front of the pack. Lead jammer Rose City. Dr. Dread working her way through the pack for Kansas City. Multiplayer block. That penalty being assessed to Rodriguez.
Oh, recycled by her own blocker, Dr. Dread. I'm not sure she even had to go back.
Dr. Dread just getting hit repeatedly by Chestnut. Moffitt through the pack, pushes her blockers aside on her way to 5 points.
Gotta say, Dr. Dread not getting a lot of offensive support there. Kansas City really trying to focus on defense and hold down the scoring, but they gotta get the jammer through.
That's Heidi Gosek and Chestnut working alongside Mercy, holding back Dr. Dread. Moffitt working against the 3-wall at the front of the pack. That looks like Ram bruised her, and tough noogies as Moffitt gets through for 5. Moffitt coming around on another scoring pass. Dread had been recycled. Now she's got to fight against Mercy Rodriguez and Heidi Gosek once again as Moffitt clears for 5. Dr. Dread just having a hard time of it this jam. Another 5-point scoring pass for Moffitt.
And it seems that the defense for Kansas City has turned to just that, defense, and not doing a lot of blocking on the floor here for Dr. Dread offensively.
Looked like Dr. Dread may have taken a hit to the head. So since this jam was called off due to skater down on the track, Dr. Dread is going to not be skating for the next 3 jams, Ron.
Well, she comes in about every 6, so wouldn't be much of a change there.
Looks like the EMTs over at the Kansas City bench making sure that Dr. Dread is all right and being tended to. To the action on the track once again, Lauren Much jamming for Rose City.
And Lauren Much recycled to start this jam.
And that's Mary Lou Wretched jamming for Kansas City. Lauren Much shaking off a couple big hits at the front of the pack from Roadhash and Barbarian.
Wretched being recycled again.
Nice
Trauma.
move by Trauma there, right, Ron?
Trauma has the skills.
And a track cut being assessed to Mary Lou Wretched. That was Scylla Devour who most likely drew that track cut. Power Jam Rose City. Lauren Much finds the outside line unguarded, 5-point scoring pass. Scylla Devour headed to the penalty box.
Nice work by Roadhash, the co-captain. Roadhash knocking the jammer out of bounds with a solid hip.
Trauma picking up a track cut. Lauren Much goes to the well once again. Outside line, 5-point scoring pass.
You gotta love that even in a game like this with a point differential that's huge, 313 to 24 right now, that you're still seeing some great things to watch. WFTDA.tv, always entertaining, even in a blowout.
That's right. Much through the pack, 5-point scoring pass. Shipley reported to the penalty box. Track cut being assessed to Lauren Much. Hydrogen Bombshell trying to put the hit on her as she was headed to the penalty box.
Oh, Mary Lou Wretched, a lead jammer, and in a power jam right now, but she's got to be tired after being knocked out of bounds repeatedly and recycling back and forth. End of the jam here, no points for Kansas City.
Nice front of the pack defense by Scylla Devour, Penny Dreadful. Rose City scoring at will, seemingly, Ron.
Yeah, Kansas City, again, being worn down a little bit here, a little bit of a heavy rotation for some of the blockers in the pack, and you can see that fatigue starting to wear. And Kansas City, with no small task tomorrow, they will come in first and play number 3, Texas, tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Then later in the afternoon, Philly. So you talk about getting worn down. This is a team that's going to have to dig really, really deep.
This could be a long weekend. Nice fighting at the front of the pack. That's Chestnut and Accelerator. Accelerator pirouetting to the inside. Lead jammer Kansas City. Accelerator now coming around, working on a scoring pass for Kansas City. Lauren Much out of the penalty box, finds room on the inside, clears on her initial pass for Rose City.
Boom.
Mercy with
Oh, wow, just sent Accelerator into the air. That is the way to shut down, a lead jammer, put them on their butts with a big hip blow like that. She got airborne, and she is not a small girl.
You were not exaggerating that whatsoever. There was air there.
Absolutely. And Accelerator, it's worth mentioning again for sure that 2007 WFTDA MVP, helping to lead the team along with Snot Rocket, future MVP, to that WFTDA championship victory. It's been a long time since she's played roller derby on this level, so she's still learning the modern game here.
Moffitt jamming once again for Wheels of Justice. Rump Wrecker, jamming for Kansas City. Scylla Devour knocking her out of turn 2 and recycling her back to the apex. Scylla Devour draws the track cut. Sneaky Pete Scylla.
Speaking of sneaky, oh man, definitely Rumprecker thought she was back in, but nope. And we have a 2. It's a back block major there for Rose City. We have 2 jammers in the box, so they won't stay long.
Jammer do-si-do gonna happen right there. Moffitt takes a seat.
Both back up. Take a quick seat and jump back in. Rumprecker.
Short-lived power jam for each team there.
Yep. Rumprecker still on her initial pass, trying to break through the front wall. Seemingly a very tough job. If Rose has 3 blockers on one of the Kansas City Jammers, they don't have a lot of a chance, it seems.
Cap pass to Jamie True. This will be her first run as a jammer of any sort this bout. 5-point scoring pass for True. True getting some offense there. Ooh, knocked out of bounds.
Hip. Knocked out of bounds by, that's Roadhash, but Roadhash fell down, so technically she didn't have to recycle, I'd say. Mike Checks, wouldn't you?
That would be my guess. I did not happen to see her fall, but I did see Moffitt being whistled to the penalty box for Rose City. True still trying to find her way through. Barbarian up front. Nice defense for Kansas City.
I gotta say, Kansas City needs to play some offensive blocking here, and their jammers are all alone. I mean, Rumprecker is out here, obviously not going to break through this 3 wall. No fault of her own. These are incredibly tough, well-coordinated blockers in rows. But if they've got 3 people on your blocker, you've got to send 1 or 2 people out there to break down that wall and get them through. You know, otherwise they're doing NASCAR out here on them.
Well, and it is interesting how effective offense like that can be. Rodriguez on the jam line for Rose City. That is Ruth Canal jamming for Kansas City. Shipley, though, pushes her out between turns 1 and 2, and Rodriguez through the pack lead jammer.
Ruth Canal breaks through. One of the small bright spots here for Kansas City today.
Rodriguez calls off the jam after picking up 1 point. Scald Eagle jamming once again for Wheels of Justice. Pushes out Barbarian, lead jammer. Mary Lou Wretched quick to follow though, Ron.
Yeah, Mary Lou Wretched fighting through that wall and at least keep the scoring down on this one. Scald Eagle will call it off, picking up 2. So we have tons of great action, Mike Checks.
Oh my gosh.
All weekend long. You have to stay tuned to WFTDA.tv. Tell them about it.
Yes, fans, please to be staying tuned. At the end of this bout, we will have Emerald City taking on Pikes Peak here on track 1. And then a little bit later today, we've got the Rose City's Axles of Annihilation taking on the Philly Independence Dolls.
And then at 6 o'clock Pacific time, that is, we'll have Rose City Rollers versus Philly Roller Girls, and I'll be here doing that one on play-by-play for you folks.
Lauren Much jamming for Rose City through the pack, lead jammer.
Speaking of lead jammer, a 79% lead jam call for Rose City. That's how you win games right there.
That is how you win games. Nice job by Annie Mall drawing the track cut on Lauren Much. Power jam Kansas City. Forearm on Rodriguez, but a big hit on Kansas City's jammer, Rumprecker.
Rumprecker's seeing a lot of action now. You're not in the starting rotation, but obviously they're seeing something in her that they're enjoying, and such as this right here, fighting through a tough block up front, holding that inside line and getting through. Once again, for Kansas City, it's going to be the small victories, things we can build on, players we can develop.
Well, one of those small victories right here. Nice four-wall by Kansas City, keeping the Rose City blockers separated. They gave up the ghost and let Heidi Go Seek rejoin Moffitt and Scylla Devour at the front of the pack, though Moffitt being whistled off for a penalty.
So Rumprecker with a smile on her face, just having picked up 5 points for Kansas City.
Rodriguez trailing Rumprecker. Rumprecker through the pack quickly, though. 4-point scoring pass, Kansas City. Those points matched by Lauren Much, who dances through the pack for 4 points.
4 more for Rumprecker, Kansas City.
Teams apparently content to trade 4-point scoring passes here as Lauren Much again threw for 4. Rodriguez holding off Rumprecker, recycling her all the way to the back.
Yeah, Kansas City more bright spots. Ram out there fighting hard all throughout the bout. She's one of the young blockers that, you know, is really going places for Kansas City. We can see some great development out here. People like Roadhash and Aaron Nobrow. So we have the talent to develop, but not a lot of experience here.
Well, it's just like you said, though. You want to take stock and be proud of the things that are going well. Like I said during that last jam, the blocker separation. Nice job by Kansas City. It's little things like that that you want to build upon going forward. Gaither now jamming for Rose City.
Oh, both of the Kansas City blockers going down. We're seeing a lot of Kansas City blockers falling down in the pack, even trying to take on blockers. It seems like they're not very solid on their feet. It may have something to do with the slickness of the track. Not trying to make excuses for them, but there's a lot of falling going on for Kansas City, as noted.
Gaither through the pack, 5-point scoring pass. Wheels of Justice. Knife getting knocked to the inside and hard.
Dr. Dredd, talk about a fighter. She is back in after taking that hit earlier and dancing on the inside line, trying to get by these tough blockers for Rose City.
Kind of obscured from my vantage point. It looked like Knife almost did the splits on the track there. Gaither forced to fight that 3-wall on her own. Her teammates trying to contain Kansas City's jammer.
Dr. Dredd getting separation, continuing to fight. Gets recycled.
Shipley being whistled for a penalty. She is going to head to the penalty box now. Gaither clears the pack once again, not without a huge fight from Barbarian.
Tough Noogies out front trying to create some separation for Dr. Dredd, pushing the ball forward. She's had a tough fight. Just coming off that big hit to the face. She is
Chestnuts with some humongous offense.
Barbarian holding her face now. Heading around the track, looking like she's shaking one off. Barbarian, another bright spot for Kansas City. Seeing some great shots by her on the track, a skater who has a wonderful future for Kansas City.
Roadhash talking to the referees there after that hit by Chestnut. She returns to her bench area for Kansas City.
And Rose out here, the blockers just like sharks, seeking out their prey, teaming up, surrounding them, taking them down. Kansas City taking one pretty tough here today.
Last Unicorn goes round the outside, lead jammer. Rose City Accelerator fighting against Eagle and Mercy at the front of the pack. Bruiser trying to get some offense in. Shipley providing some offense for Blast Unicorn. And Blast Unicorn goes around the outside, 5-point scoring pass, Rose City. Annie Mamal headed to the penalty box.
It's turnaround blocking. You know, a lot of times you'll see one blocker turning around and facing the jammer. Sometimes with Rose, you'll see 3 doing the turnaround blocking. So extraordinary stuff. Of course, the legendary Bell Star in there in this mix.
Right, and the triangle blocking formation. We've got a track cut call on the Blast Unicorn. Mercy also reporting to the penalty box for Rose City. This could be a break for Kansas City right here, Ron.
Well, Accelerator's got to get through this front wall, and I tell you what, every time she gets by a blocker, that blocker then cycles to the front. She's got to get by every blocker multiple times. So you have to get through all of them at once, and Rose makes that very difficult with the recycling they do.
Nice job by Accelerator there, noticing that Shipley was not in front of her when she got knocked out of bounds, and so she did not have to re-enter behind Shipley. Good track awareness there by Accelerator.
We've had 5 power jams for each team. Rose obviously to take more advantage of that as their defense is containing Kansas City on the floor.
Well, in Rose City getting Mercy and Blast Unicorn back out of the penalty box. Blast Unicorn pushes out the front of the pack. 5-point scoring pass, Rose City.
And there you go again with that 30-second penalty. She goes off, comes back in, still in position to score points and bringing some home for Rose.
Shipley and Mercy down in turn 3, but I don't think they were injured.
So just got in the stat here from Just Jake that Kansas City has been scoreless on each of their 5 power jams. So that's got to no. Oh.
5 points total on all of them.
Oh, 5 points total on all of the power jams. Still not a very significant stat right there. You've got to get more when you've got the only jammer on the floor.
Forearm penalty being assessed to Rodriguez. Ruth Canal looking for this power jam opportunity. Out of play, Ruth Canal, lead jammer in the power jam, Ron.
Ruth Canal, one of the few blockers, jammers for Kansas City who seems to be able to take on a couple of the blockers and break her way through. Got some strength there in those legs, obviously, and continues to push all the time.
Kansas City opting to go for the passive offense, stopping Moffitt from recycling back. That happened right in front of the Rose City fan base. They wanted a track cut call, did not get it.
Meanwhile, Ruth Canal continuing to fight. Multiplayer block called on Rose City.
That's Moffitt headed to the penalty box for that infraction.
Ruth Canal going down, recycled, but now grabs 5 more for Kansas City.
Chestnut reporting to the penalty box for Rose City. Rodriguez clear of the pack on her initial pass. Rodriguez jumps the far apex, looking for some last-second points. Did not get it. Team timeout, Kansas City.
You know, I'd like to give a big shout-out right this minute to, you know, we have a lot of great teams here at the Big O, and they're from all over the world. Well, back home they have a support structure, and those support structures are their NSOs, their referees that come to every practice, the track crews, you know, the husbands, wives, people out there that take care of them and make sure to get them here, and we really appreciate all that support. You know, the Kansas City team, you know, couldn't be here without the support of all their people at home, so a shout out to our home league, Kansas City, and thank you to all who support WFTDA and roller derby.
Well, Ron, I'm glad you were able to travel with Kansas City out here to the Big O.
Oh, I always travel with Kansas City. I love this team, and no matter what the score, I'm with them, and that's one of the great things is you've got that loyalty to teams. The great teams like Kansas City has been around for 10 years, and they've never been ranked as low as 29. You know, they're down in the stats right now, but they've got nowhere to go but up. You know, they've got lots of things to work on and build on, and with the support of their community, they're going to do that. Rose, obviously, tons of support from this local community. You can see them all up and down the stands, and they're doing a great job on the track.
Gaither jamming for Rose City. That's Mary Lou Wretched jamming once again for Kansas City. She is through, lead jammer, Kansas City. Gaither now clear of the pack for Wheels of Justice. Mary Lou Wretched coming around working on her scoring pass. Nice fight by Chestnut. Mary Lou Wretched gets around, 3-point scoring pass, but 4 picked up by Gaither. Blast Unicorn through the pack quickly for Rose City, lead jammer. Roadhash putting the brakes on Blast Unicorn in the far straightaway. Blast Unicorn clears the pack, 5-point scoring pass. Rump Wrecker still working against the Wheels of Justice 3-wall at the front of the pack now. Lauren Much out there doing some blocking as the Blast Unicorn skates by. 5 in the sky, Rose City.
That was great lateral movement. She was way to the inside, drew the defense in, and then quickly around the outside to score the points. That's how you do it, Mike checks.
Rump Wrecker trying to find some daylight on the inside between turns 3 and 4. Blast Unicorn pops out of the pack, decides to keep it going after checking in with the bench. 5 more points.
I'm gonna have to bring my own computer so I can see the rolls maps.
Blast Unicorn pushed to the outside of the far straightaway. She's going to be recycled. Again checks in with the bench. Calls off the jam, but picks up 2 more points. And ladies and gentlemen, that appears to be a final.
Yeah, 4:07, a mighty, mighty scoring barrage by the ladies in purple. Wheels of Justice, Rose City Rollers putting on a display of power against Kansas City. Kansas City scoring 50 points in this bout. Definitely some things to work on with Texas in the morning.
Well, both teams now with their first bout here at the Big O under their belt. Rose City Wheels of Justice putting the rest of the WFTDA on notice. They have a goal this season, and that goal is championships. They look like they're ready to start that journey. They took a big first step today.
Oh, yeah. Certainly a team to watch in the WFTDA. There is a reason why they are ranked up there in the top 10, and you can see the work and dedication they put in there. These girls are ripped. Look at those shoulders on the track. They have great size. They have great speed. Awesome display of power against Kansas City, a team who's rebuilding.
Well, and you made mention Texas going to have to contend with both of these teams as the weekend wears on. It will be interesting to see how that transpires.
Oh, that'll be really, really interesting to watch. And I am excited for all the action here at the Big O. We want everyone to stay tuned to WFTDA.tv. I'm Raucous Ron. I've had a great time calling with you, Mike Checks, despite the score.
Well, fans, stick around. We have Emerald City versus Pikes Peak coming up on this track at 2 o'clock, but we are going to kick it over to Derby Deeds for their post-game wrap-up.
I've been skating on them for about 4 months now, and my edge work has improved, my control has improved.
Prior to this, I found that the plates were very obvious on my feet, and I knew that I was wearing skates. Whereas now, they all feel part of my leg, like they've just grown on there.
Bring it in. Keep coming. Whoa. Time for an upgrade. Radar Presto.
Say, these are nice.
Stunning.
On you go. Yeah.
You're watching WFTDA.tv.
We're getting awesome. Yeah, that's
seeing the same old boring commercials during the tournaments.
Man, I haven't seen Captain Antic and Boy Reckless forever. I wonder what they've been up to.
I really wish they would bring us something all new. Captain Antic, I think we've been gone too long.
Boy Reckless, I think it's time for something all new.
I think it's time to get our WAD on.
This is how I do all new.
This is how I do all new.
All new.
All new.
All new.
All new.
All new.
All new. All new.
This commercial is brought to you by Green Monster Roller Sports,
CrossFit Denton,
and Dirty Skids.
Hello and welcome to the DerbyDeeds.com event desk here at the Big O. We're brought to you by Adam Wheels. You can check out the new lineup of Boom Wheels at a roller derby skate shop near you. Huge thanks to Adam Wheels for making this happen. I'm Megatron. I'm here with Pitchit and Just Jake. And we are coming after the very first game here at the Big O, Rose City versus Kansas City. And I, for one, can say that that was not what I expected at all.
A little bit of a learning experience for us, I think. We expected more out of Kansas City. Apparently, Kansas City didn't expect as much out of Kansas City. We're hearing it through the grapevine that KCRW requested some easier games because they felt like they were rebuilding a little bit, and clearly Rose City, not an easier game for Kansas.
No.
I talked to some insiders at Kansas City, and they mentioned the same thing. They were going to see a different jammer rotation, not the usual jammers that they were going to see. So we had a whole new jammer rotation that was developing, and not the depth of the bench that they were looking at. So that probably went over why they didn't want to play those.
Right.
Well, and you know, they're missing Evolution and Eclipse. Like, those are two amazing blockers that are not there anymore, and that was a giant part of their defense and their overall offense that just wasn't there. Final score of this game was 405 for Rose City to 50 points for Kansas City. And Kansas City, they had only put up 8 points in the first quarter.
Yep.
So now, you guys on the announcing side had put together a list of keys for the game that you were looking for each team during the game.
Yeah, so especially once we talked to them about Kansas City. Kansas City, keys to the bout, number one, neutralize Scald Eagle. I mean, you know, she's one of the best jammers in the game, if not the best, top three easily. So you have to go in with a game plan against her, whether you're going in with an incredibly offensive lineup that's going to open it up and limit her scoring passes, or a defensive lineup that she's going to save the same people stuffing her, but you needed to have a plan in place. And it didn't work. Scald Eagle was not neutralized. Number two, you got to prioritize your high-level blockers, and they did. I thought, you know, Barbarian, Trauma, Animal, and Bruiser got a lot of playing time, and that's who they needed out there in a high rotation. Kansas City were willing to do that, and despite doing that, it was still a rough ride for them.
Oh, man.
And prioritize lead jammer. The first pass was the most important thing for them, and they barely cracked 20% lead jammer, and it needed to be closer to 50.
Yeah.
Even if Rose City was going to win, that would have limited the scoring. So that was keys to the game for Kansas City. Rose City, on the other hand, they were really good with theirs. Stay on the track. That was their biggest opportunity, especially all last season. Fell off a little bit in the second period when they already had their skull, but with that kind of comfort, you still need to make an effort to stay on the track, especially when they have that depth of the bench and execution. Focus on containment. Last year was a hitting game. They would go for big hits. They would open up their walls, and they gave a lot more scoring passes than they needed. I thought we saw a much more contained game out of them this time.
Their defense was super tight.
It was
game.
The walls of justice are back. The walls of justice are back. And then tire them out, and I think they did a good job with that. Tire them out. They used the whole bench. They had a huge jam rotation, huge blocker rotation.
And they let the jam clock run, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, you know, to Kansas City's first point about neutralizing Scald Eagle. Scald Eagle came out in the first jam. First jam scored 40 points. Like, now, it was a power jam.
But
40 points in one jam is amazing right now, especially with 30-second penalties.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying watching the 30-second penalties because it is neutralizing those huge power jams where you're just racking up points, except for this time.
Well, Rose City, after 4 jams, had 76 points on the board to Kansas City, who finally scored points in the 4th jam to 2 points. So Rose City came out hard and wanted to show them, hey, we're here to play. And unfortunately, KCRW is not.
No, and Skull Eagle had 65 points in the first 7 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So yes, like you were saying, one of the best jammers in the game. We were watching her, like, her team would go all defense, and she would just weave her way through the defense of Kansas City like it wasn't there. And this is not a Kansas City that I'm used to seeing. Like, even when they weren't doing so hot last year, their defense was still super tight. But with them missing blockers, it's hard.
And that's the game, and they know that. It's clear they know that. It's clear they didn't want to, they came out here to build rankings, and unfortunately they're playing some high-level teams. They played, I believe it was Denver earlier, and had a similar experience.
Yeah.
So, this happens to the best teams. They go through, you build up that strong core of players, the blockers you mentioned. I mean, they still have a couple of hardcore blockers. I think Bruiser was just incredible still. She was doing work the whole time, but it's just, when you don't have the rest of the bench to support you there.
Right, when you have Trauma, Animal, Bruiser all on the track the whole time, they're gonna get worn out.
Exactly. I wanted to speak really quick to the 30 seconds. One thing I like about the 30 seconds, and we saw that out there today, and I was actually pretty impressed that Rose City took advantage of it. 30-second power jams forces offense.
Yes.
It forces offense. And Rose City were able to capitalize big time on those power jams. The few they only got 5. But every time, every pass, you had someone out there opening up the hole, and they were able to get big points on those power jams.
Right, no more standing around, no more sausage. Got to play.
First jam of the second half was a power jam for KCRW, and back block on Skull Eagle. Kansas City did a pretty decent job of opening up some holes and scoring some points. They scored 10 points on that jam, and that was more than they had for the entire first half. So in one jam, they were able to double their score, and it was nice to see that they had gone into the locker room, they adjusted somewhat, and they came out and they were executing.
They had another opportunity later. They had a 15-point jam off of the power jam too. So they started turning those power jams to their favor. But also Rose City gave them a lot of opportunities by going to the penalty box a lot more in the second half. So I think that kind of evened it out a little bit on that by that point. But the adjustments that were there, and you can see it. And Much and Skull weren't getting the big scoring jams that they were getting in the first half.
Man, talk about Much Mayhem. She is fast. Like, I knew that she is fast, but I was surprised just sitting here right on the edge of the track, watching her scream around this corner. Like, it was fantastic. Like, and she's young, like just straight out of the junior program.
Well, Rose City is an awesome team, just period, right? So that. You're not saying much when you say any one of them's good. They're all good, right?
True story.
But they have to go play Philly tonight at 6 o'clock, and I think that will be a completely different game for Rose City. Luckily, they've got their practice in for the day, so they're ready for it, I'm sure.
Well, and another thing about Philly is they don't have a complete roster either. So, Philly's missing Shanita Stretcher. She is a game changer. Like, that is one person that you want on the track. They do have Vdiva, so watching Skull Eagle versus Vdiva is going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
So that's tonight at 6 o'clock. Stay tuned for that. And
let's back up a little bit. You guys may have missed some things this morning. This is the Big O. This is Eugene, Oregon. We've been here several years. This is a good time, right? We're prepared to have a good time here this weekend. First thing, they started off with national anthems. Scotland.
Yes,
right?
Aldriki.
Aldriki came out, sang their national anthem themselves, held up their flag themselves. It was awesome, right? That's what we expect from an international tournament like this. Canada's national anthem. U.S., hold the phone. The U.S. national anthem was played on the electric guitar, and the flag was held by a current member of the U.S. military. So, right, Big O, not holding back any of the punches for sure. We got 3 tracks. We got we got games going the whole time. We can't even pay attention to everything that's going on here.
I know.
You guys probably have better access to what's going on than we do because we got to run back and forth to see it all. Right now, Tucson and
Silicon
Valley are playing on track 2. They're probably just finishing up. When I ran over there and took a look, the score was 175 to 90 in favor of Tucson. Not what I expected. Clearly, Silicon Valley must be in a little bit of a rebuilding phase as well.
Wow.
And then on the third track, we have Sicktown versus the Emerald City B team, and that was the game of the morning right now because the last time we checked it was 75 to 85.
Right.
So it was nice and tight for a B team bout. And you know, like I like the fact that we have all 3 B teams from the high level teams. We have Rose City's Axles of Annihilation. We have Texas the Firing Squad. I should know this. Shame on me. Texas's B team.
You're gonna get some letters.
I know, right? And Emerald City's B team. We have the Philly Independent Stalls, their B team. They played last night against Emerald City. Emerald City lost that in the. It was just a scrimmage, but in the last jam, Emerald City lost by about 10 points. Kokeshi is one of the teams that has come from a long way off. They're our camera guy Chris is cheering. They came from Okinawa, Japan. They have a ton of military members. We're going to be joined by a few of them later on today, so that's going to be really cool.
They got to play a game last night.
They played last night as well.
Cherry City came over and played, and it was a pretty heavy-handed game. Cherry City won it pretty easily. Yeah, but Kokeshi's getting that experience that they need to get, right?
It was a 200-point margin, like 285 to 85-ish. And but I was impressed with how fast Kokeshi was learning while they were on the track. Like they were taking the higher level. Sorry, distracted by a bug. They were taking the higher level play that they were getting from Cherry City, and they were learning from it, and they were adapting to it very, very quickly while they were on the track. So they were right here behind us last night. And they are going to be playing later on today as well.
Well, it used to be these kind of events were great for newer teams to get the experience, the opportunity. Now it's a good place for international teams to come out and get that kind of experience. And like you said, you see them going through the game, they're going to be a different team by the end of the weekend. So that's going to be great to see as well.
Absolutely.
And they are going to be playing on track 2 after the Silicon and Tucson game. We've got Emerald City versus Pikes Peak on this track coming up at 2 o'clock. And then in our first men's game of the weekend, we have Drive-By City Rollers versus Deep Valley Belligerents over on track 3 at 2:30.
Yeah, the half-hour stagger on track 3, just so it gives everybody a chance to at least get the opportunity to watch all the games or part of all the games.
Yeah.
Also, Kokeshi on track 2 will be playing Humboldt, so that could be a good game as well.
Yeah.
And Kokeshi has a lineup of really good games, I think, this weekend. They're going to be playing Arizona.
AZRD,
And I think that the most exciting part about that story for me is how excited Arizona is to play the international team. You know, like, this is a brand new team. They're unranked. It's not going to do anything for Arizona's ranking. In fact, Arizona might take a hit because they're playing an unranked team. But the fact that they are happy and willing to go out and do that speaks volumes for the community aspect.
Right, well, the Arizona's travel team, the Tent City Terrors, they feel like they may have gotten a little bit of a light schedule. They play Oriki, they play Kokeshi, and they play Silicon Valley. Now seeing that Silicon Valley and Tucson, the way that's going, it even looks easier for AZRD. And so they're going to have to win by, 600 points a game to make it worth showing up for. Hopefully they're able to do that.
Yeah, but lots of really great games. We've got Oli's return to WFTDA coming up tonight. They're going to be playing Texas. They're playing with Hockey Honey. So, who knew? The roster that we were given is about 11 months old, and we know that it is very, very wrong. So it's going to be interesting to see who they play.
We'll know who's playing when you see them on the track. Is really what's going to be going on there.
For sure. But lots of really exciting roller derby for the rest of the weekend, and we're going to be here after every game on track 1. We're going to be giving you score updates from all across the Big O, and as we get information from Beach Brawl, and we know we've got Boston going up to Montreal this weekend to play up there. So lots of games. We're going to give you all of the updates that we can as we get them. And
we're going to check in with you after every single game here on track 1. It may be a 2-minute check-in, it may be a 30-minute check-in. We're going to give you everything that we have to give you every time that we show up on camera. So.
True story. So Just Jake, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward to talking to you more. And it's nice that you guys, oh, let's talk about this before we go. Let's talk about what you guys are doing on the announcing during the games, because you have 3 chairs, and you were running chair number 3.
So what we want to do is it's just trying to update the level of content that we're getting broadcast on Wftda.tv. So we're trying to create a position where it's statistical analysis going in with keys to the game. We want to increase the storytelling, and we want to use stats to do it. So our goal is to come in with keys to the game for each team, so we have something that we can focus on to look at their opportunities here. We're going to track live our unofficial, very unofficial stats and try to build in real stats with them and compile opportunities for the team's growth, where we see change, where we see, and as much as you're willing to give them, we're willing to bring them into you too.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. I love it. I think that this is amazing content, and I think it's good for you guys out there in Listener Town. Viewerville.
It's a goal.
Sorry, it's Viewerville today.
Your keys to the game, is that a halftime type thing, or are you?
Well, we're trying to come in at the beginning of the game, and then we readdress it at halftime, like, okay, how is everything looking according to the keys to the game? How is the gameplay going? Are some people being successful? Or some people still need to reach their opportunities? And then we cap it off at the end with like, all right, this is where they succeeded, and this is where the opportunity's moving forward.
Yeah. Well, we'd like to check in with you occasionally and find out how your keys to the game are working out.
Yeah, yeah.
After
absolutely.
it's all said and done.
Absolutely.
How accurate were you?
Yeah. Excellent. Then yeah, we'll check in with you at the half too, and then get you more information. Absolutely, absolutely.
So for the DerbyDees.com events desk here at the Big O, brought to you by Adam Wheels and the new Boom Wheels lineup that you can find at any roller derby skate shop. I'm Megatron.
I'm Pitchit.
Just Jake.
Thanks a lot for watching. We've got the next game, Emerald City versus Pikes Peak, right here on track number 1. That's going to be in about 16 minutes. Track 2, track 3 up and running. Lots of content, lots of derby today. Wftda.tv/Big O. Check it all out. Thank you a lot for watching.